Wow, he put a lot of work into that.
Pulled into Omaha. We did meet a lot of people.
Be careful.
It was fun.
They're only tame from
About
2 weeks
everybody
ago.
we met, they kind of said, "Oh yeah, we heard about you," and all this. I had my hat sitting on the table there, and I was going to leave it there for supper. And Elder Lund says, "Oh, you're not going to supper without your hat, are you?" And I thought, "No." So I took my hat, and we went out to supper. And so I knew that the end of the chapter would be fun for us and for you, but. Anyway, I do still love you, brother.
I can tell. Anytime you want to bring me in, I'll do it, particularly Clyde.
But anyway, now that the horseplay is over, and I've tarnished and tainted the whole thing, I did want to share a couple things with you and your family. And this has been so fun for me and Marilyn and I to take this little trip. We kind of never made it too far out of town and said that this is the first time we've ever been on a trip together alone. Because we've always had grandkids or kids. And it was just some special alone time that we had as we journeyed through the Dakotas and Rushmore and Crazy Horse and Badlands and seen those sights. And then we ventured on down and spent Sunday with DeWayne and Joyce, but we was had our goals set to hurry and get to Nauvoo. And so we pulled into Nauvoo. You know, we always wanted to tour some of the church sites and see what there was there. And we pulled into town just as the sun had gone down. It was just at dusk. And come around the corner and got the view of the temple. And how beautiful the temple was. Sky. And so we walked around the front of the temple, and here's the bronze statues of Joseph Smith and Hiram as they rode out of town when they were jailed. Of course, were martyred. And I took a picture with my phone. That I wish I had a higher quality of. I would enlarge that, and it would be a very special treasure in my house, and I'm still going to enlarge it as big as I can. And then the next day, we wanted to go to the temple, and we walked in the door when they first opened, and brother Frank Reese and his wife was right there, and they conducted that session. We went to that session with them, and their son, or daughter and son, Mike, they'd done a child swap, and Caroline, the daughter, was in that session with us. And so as we concluded that session, temple session, Frank reached over and he touched us and he says, "Now I want you to wait for me in the celestial room." It's okay. And so we went in there with Caroline and waited for him. And he come in and walked us out of there and into the hall, and the temple president was waiting there for us. And they said, "Now this don't happen very often, and it isn't standard policy to give tours of the temple unless you're a VIP." So we felt like VIPs, and we got to tour the Nauvoo temple pretty much inside and out. We went up into the spires to the highest windows, and then you have the clock windows, and then you have a set of windows above that, and then you have a little itty dome right under the Angel Moroni. We were standing in that dome. And we came down in that spiral staircase. And he, being Brother Reese, is so full of information about everything, being a seminary teacher. And that wood spiral staircase is so impressive. But as we stood in that temple and visualized the saints building that edifice, and happy to walk away from it, and they were even finishing as they had to leave. They knew they had to leave in their efforts to finish it because it meant so much to them. Filling the spirit of the Nauvoo. special. Now, I don't know how many of the little kids we got here, but I wanted to talk a little bit about how many of you have heard the terminology of hidden treasures? When we talk about that things will be opened up unto you and you'll receive great treasures of knowledge, even hidden treasures. And to kind of explain, what a hidden treasure is. A treasure is something that is hidden or you can't see or you can't find. And these are treasures that are normally hidden from the world. And they're hidden from the world only because they don't know where to find them. And I want you to know that I have a little hidden treasure right here in the Nauvoo Temple. And I want you to know the feeling in the Nauvoo Temple is the same feeling in all the temples. As you walk in the doors of the temples, you have that same feeling. It's that very special place in Nauvoo. We had several other real special experiences with our feeling or testimony of things that we saw and was able to, I hope we can share some of them with you. We journeyed all through Nauvoo, saw all the sights, went down to the Carthage jail and saw where the prophet was martyred. As they sang, "Oh, poor man, Wayfarer." Just say it. Oh, poor. Okay. I get tongue twisted there. I cannot sing that song in church anytime. That's one song I cannot sing through without stopping, choking, even in church, let alone in the Carthage jail. And then later in the week we moved on down to Independence and went to the temple in Kansas. We had a special experience there. Coming back up through, we went far west and then to Adam and Diamond. And Adam and Diamond is just a little mound, a little well-cared for gravel road, a little bit of cut grass. That's all it is. The church has not developed that area for reasons, private property reasons and that other, but it's a very sacred place. And with just being Marilyn and I and sitting there on that little hill, and after a few little text inserts and messages that kind of we had to brush aside, the feeling, it was so quiet, peaceful with the birds. And another one of those little hidden treasures was that feeling, knowing that Joseph Smith, as a prophet of God, stood there. He told us what went on there. There was actually, he said, a monument by the Nephite people that was there. And he prophesied that this is the place in which Adam will return and visit his people. Hidden treasure testified to me that this is true. That Joseph Smith was a prophet of God standing there. And that it was a very special place. And then we went on up to spend the day with Grandpa and Grandma. And it was fun to walk into all the places around the visitor center, there in Omaha, and then go over to Council Bluffs. And of course, everybody lit up when they seen. I have resources.
You got them all.
When I'm done, I'm going to ask.
You do have a key, don't you?
I do have a key. But when I'm done, I'm going to let DeWayne and Joyce just tell you how they felt when they removed. Their name tags. I can still remember. I sat with Jeremy when they asked him to remove his tag. You physically feel something leave. Now, I wanted you to know Elder Julander, Eaton's hat, the Marlboro Man, as known on the temple ground, and Sister Julander spent countless hours planting, weeding, shoveling, raking, dusting, cleaning, to make sure that these edifices were perfect. If you've ever walked onto temple grounds and saw the flower beds, they are perfect because of people like Elder and Sister Julander. The other thing that I noticed as we walked into each of these buildings and everybody lit up, and of course all the stories had to kind of flow, is the love for Elder Sister Julander and Elder Julander. Everybody expressed their love and how much fun they've had with them, and to get to know them, and the stories and the spirit that they possess. As we was going through the little visitor center there, special little sister, Sister Coates, just one of them sweet little gals you just want to load her up, take her home. She did have as close to a physical glow as anybody I have seen. As we walked into each segment of the visitor center, she bore testimony. And you could tell from her heart, sincere and honest, her testimony was. And toward the end of our little tour that she did for us, she just says, "I love you guys. If there was anything I could do for your family, I would do it." And I put my arm around her, and I know that's against mission rules. And I said, if our family could only hear your testimony, that would be all you need to give. Thus, that's why I'm standing in front of you. I am nowhere near Sister Coates. I want you to know, on behalf of Grandma and Grandpa and myself, that I believe with all my heart that the church is true. That Joseph Smith was a prophet. The priesthood power has been restored in the temples. We make covenants. Tie us together as a family. The only way you can feel those hidden treasures is if you've been through them and felt them. That evening we went to the temple. The same thing happened as we entered the doors of the temple. Everybody greeted me like they knew me. Yeah, so I I don't know what kind of legacy he told about me there, but everybody seemed to be expecting this, and everybody seemed to know who I was. And the temple president kept following me around like a little puppy dog, kept saying, "You're ready for your interview." They're so hurting for people to help in the temple, and they are going to miss these two right here. Because now there's a big vacancy. And as we went through that session, they officiated that session that we went through. Just being in the temple with you two. Being in a prayer circle with you two. Through the Spirit. Thank you. Appreciate you. And I love you dearly. In spite of everything else. But it was my way of saying that we missed you, appreciate you, but also my way of trying to convey to you maybe what Sister Coates would have done. Bearing testimony to your family and your posterity of the truthfulness of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I say that in the name of Jesus Christ. And we can't put these on. We can hold them. It's your turn. I'm not going to even begin to go over you, that this has been a tremendously wonderful experience for us. You know, I've been home, busy with children, busy with all this, and you really don't get a grasp of these things until you go and let them sink in. Until you take time to let these things sink in. And this is something that's been on our mind for some time to do, and we knew we would come out gratified for it. We was to the Nauvoo Temple just a week before Kendall, the mission president, give us an opportunity to leave the mission and go to the Nauvoo Temple. And I thank him dearly for that. You know, I just have to say, if you go to these sites and digest the information there, and the things that go on, the spirit that dwells with the young missionaries and the sister missionaries, it's just well, it's like this. I said, who do you think the Lord trusts his most precious job with? The most precious job to the Lord is to teach his gospel. And who does he trust to do it? A 19-year-old kid. Now, if that isn't faith, I don't know what is. But it works, doesn't it, Ty? And you know, he doesn't trust the 19-year-old kid. He trusts that the Spirit will guide that 19-year-old kid. And you cannot believe these young people. Kendall mentioned Sister Coates. Do you know Sister Coates? Okay, she works for Delvon. But we found connections under everything we did. She had a kind of a special connection to us from the day she walked into the mission. It's an interesting connection. We hauled a couple missionaries that were problems, and we were there to rescue them. And so they were assigned to work with us. And they got moved from one apartment to another apartment, and lo and behold, two sister missionaries are moving into that apartment. I went in the apartment, I took a look at the apartment, looked at their beds, looked at the burnt stove and all the stuff that was burnt on the stove, and I said to myself, they made it, I'm out of here. They've got the day to clean it, we'll come back when they get it clean, and then we'll, you know, who knows what we'll find, because you got to know, this one guy was, we call him Big Bailey. You're smart. He's big. He's a huge kid. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, I walked out of there saying, you know, I am not going to try to clean the stove. I don't think it can be done. And I just feel so bad for her sister that's moving in. And we went back that afternoon to pick up all their stuff to the other apartment. And they had it clean. They had it pretty span. They still had a cake on the refrigerator that had been there for about 7 days. Bailey hadn't got to that. And he said to the sisters as they were moving in, as we was moving out, there's some cake, you're more than welcome to it. I said, well, we won't hurt the feelings by trashing it, but we'll let the sisters trash it. One of those missionaries was Sister Coates, and it was her very first day. But
I thought she'd been there forever.
I thought maybe she'd pick up her degree. But anyway, she is one of the special sisters there. There's many of them. The Trail Center in particularly has sister missionaries give all the trail center tours. And them sisters are really super dedicated to what they do. And the testimony is extremely strong. If you don't believe me, ask Kelly Andrews. He had a sister, Belka. He had a sister Belka take him through, and he'd never been through a strength testimony. So, you know, plan somewhere in your future to go to these kind of places. Plan somewhere in your future to go on a mission. Get in touch with these kind of things. One of the things that I wanted to go on a mission for was to gain a better testimony and become more in touch with the Spirit so that I knew what it was when I appeared. I went through most of my life being prompted by the Spirit because I've had a good life, raised a good family, and everything has been good. It wasn't me. It wasn't me that did that. I did listen to the prompting of the Spirit, but I didn't know it. I didn't recognize it. Now I recognize it much more than I did before. And it's something we all need to do, to learn to feel and operate, function right in prompting of the Spirit. But, you know, it has been a great experience. I think Mother can bench press now. You know, she's had a trouble. She had quite a struggle. I knew she would. That I felt like it would be good for her, and I think it was good for her. And proud of her. She did a good job. I just went out there and said, anything she can't do, I'll cover for her, and I'll do my work in her too. And our supervisor said I worked like a mule, and I said, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. I says, a workhorse is fine. No mule. Now look what we did. But anyway, the thing that I wanted to say as much as anything is the joy that we felt. We left with some anxiety because we've gotten a whole bunch of new friends and people we thought dearly of and they thought dearly of us. And to come home, to come to that front yard, see the effort and everything you kids have put into welcome us home. My gosh, they do miss us. And the fact that you've done such a magnificent job. You covered them for us so well. You know, a lot of people were on missions because they had nothing else to do. That wasn't our case. We were on a mission because we had to do it, not because we had something to do. Well, we had to do it because we wanted to. And you know, and I knew that coming home wouldn't be a problem for me because I could continue right on where I was. Where a lot of people have to restart. I have quite a few missionaries that want me to go home and sold at home and gone on missions and things like that. They just very dedicated. So it all boils down to family. It's family is everything. And without family, what is life? And I'll relate what I told them in the priesthood meeting this morning as we were talking about teaching, sharing the gospel with others. We went to Kansas City. It's only 2 times in mission, so we both go out of our mission. Once to the Kansas City Temple and record it. And we were sitting there. We sit down to have a cookie, and my sister and a friend sit down with us after they sit with us through it. And where we had the missionary badge on, they started asking us questions. And I said to her, I said, she said, I just don't understand. It's trying to make the temple so mystic, so looking for. Yeah, she was trying to go off the end of the bar. And I simply says, keep it simple. Keep it simple. You're trying to go way over yourself. Keep it simple. And I said, simplicity to me is, Mother and I have been married for 53 years. We have 5 children, 23 grandchildren, 9 great-grandchildren. So it's grown. And I says, well, I said to her first, I said, do you believe in a just God? She said, oh, definitely. I believe in a just God. And I said, if you believe in a just God, you look at Sister Julander and I, we've had 53 years together. We have built a tremendous wealth of family and grandkids and everything. And I said, do you think it's justice that when we pass on, it's gone? It just drifts and wash it out into the sand. And I said, that's not justice to me. And I said, this is what temples are all about. It's to unite and to have families united through the eternity. And that's justice. My main goal in life is to go through eternity with my family. And you can always find people in this family that you always have a special tie to. So keep that in mind. Families are gems, they're just jewels, and they need to be treated as such. Right. Yeah, they need to be treated as such. No, we love you all very much. Very grateful to be home. And I have to tell you this, I told several people, I'm on a child training mission. I says, I left home to see if my family would learn how to do all those things I do without me. And then I'd say, well, we have a store, we have a farm, we have this and that going on. And I says, Joyce and I was just way too involved, and I want to see if they can do it without me. And I want to tell you, whether that was why, that's not why we went, that you've really done so well at this place. You've stepped up to the plate.
So the sprinklers are still yours, Derek.
Yeah, Derek.
And Sister
But
Cole,
I ain't gonna have time to go on the
can
mission.
you let Ty meet Sister Cole?
We've done that.
She's coming to our cabin.
Okay.
We can show the pictures.
Did you show him
We'll show
pictures?
the pictures
We gotta take you downstairs and get a haircut first time.
I need the haircut.
That's first. No, Joyce is still a little bit of a matchmaker.
I remember that pillow, best matchmaker ever.
And the
Did
world.
she help you guys and Kendall Marilyn too, right, kind of?
Yeah, we met at our wedding.
Yeah. So. Oh, two. I think she did a few more, but
Well, she's not through yet.
she's not through yet. Okay, good.
It is a phenomenal experience. You all ought to look forward to it at some point tonight. Take your cares away from your personal problems, your personal everything, and dedicate your time and your service. Joyce tried for a week, and she knew she was going to pull weeds. But I think
I had to have a blessing to get past them.
she loves weeds now. She sees them everywhere we go.
Come to my house,
Don't
Mom.
pass one shot.
But we didn't only do that. We did a lot of things. We were involved in a lot of things. It's a good thing. Very good thing.
We gave out like a lot. So, the thanks all goes to you kids. You make us proud. That's what it's all about.
You make me proud, little girl.
We're proud of you guys. We're proud of you guys.
Thank you. We're proud.
We're happy for you.
Cindy,
Kisses.
give it kisses.
Kisses, Katie.
More
Kisses.
than one person that loves you.
Kisses, Katie.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Okay, Grandma, it's your turn.
Kendall goes to the zoo and puts a piece of popcorn in her mouth and you kisses him.
Hey, you didn't say about your name badges, guys. You didn't tell us about your name badges.
Well, it wasn't, you know, I figured we'd have an interview with you. I thought he was, I think it was your ward that was just starting. Yeah, it was. And he was there. And I offered to set up an appointment. And he just quickly said, is there anything you need to talk to me about since you're in application? I said, no, we pedal the metal.
Straight on home.
Straight shot. Well, you can take them off then. We do have an appointment with you for Tuesday night. But it's not to be released.
You're both what? Oh. Yay! Finally! It took a long time. It's about time. Took you 53 years, Mom.
The spirit, missionary spirit, does leave you when you pull that badge off, but it doesn't have to. And so I guess it is something that you need to protect. All of you writing your to-do bucket list. Kendall, he's been talking about his bucket list. We just completed one of our bucket lists. So, thank you all. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
And if it's this nice, we might go on another one. We're kind of enjoying this part.
We'll have the parties. You don't have to leave again. I don't think I can handle the sprinklers another year.
You know, one of my
Grandma, I don't know how you survived it. Grandma.
Your sprinklers can create a better vocabulary than cows.
Yeah.
I found that out for sure.
I want to tell you this one thing that just lifted my heart. Derek calls me and he says, I have beat my head against this sprinkler and I can't fix it. And this thing's come out and I can't get it back in. And he says, what am I going to do? I said, well, I don't know. If it's really broken, you may have to take an end off the end and then you got to shut the thing back. And it's not pretty. He went back the next day when he wasn't mad. Wasn't mad. Humble.
Come right out.
Fixed it.
All he did was reach in there with 2 fingers and just went, oh, really?
And I
For real?
said,
That just happened?
It's a beautiful learning experience, Derek.
You should see the snake he found out there in the field.
I'll tell you,
He
I've
found
learned
a
to change
3-foot
pipes
snake
in the
out there.
middle of the thing without pulling them apart. I just tell you that right now. You're pulling them apart and shuffling them back. All you gotta do is have a big hammer.
The best part was every time you had problems, I was at work.
Or conveniently gone. Well, you got problems? Oh, it would help, but I've got to
I said, Derek,
jump in the truck and go bring them.
I said, Derek, you're going to need some help. Get some help. Call Lane or Kendall. Lane, he's on his way to the mountain.
Yeah.
Kendall, can't help you.
Twins. Twins in town. Call them.
But I did leave you at the dirty work.
Yes, you did. Sugarcoat that. Yeah.
Man out of me.
That's right, yeah. Oh, take on anybody now.
Well, you're gonna make Katie cry when you take her buggy. All she talks about is wanting to go do sprinklers with Dad in the buggy.
You just give it.
What's that?
You see a swapper. I've changed weather guard. If I ever have to change another blade, or I see another sprinkler, I'm gonna spray it. Just like the boys' top. That's a long section. You have to move it all at the same time, so you don't.
Look around, you guys.
It's only about 5 minutes.
See what it's all
The
about.
puppet position. Twist it off. That's what it's. I'm free. I don't know.